Hollywood's golden age wasn't just champagne and spotlights. In the shadows of the red carpet, another empire ruled, one built on favors, silence, and fear. The stars played gangsters on screen. Bogart snarled through detective thrillers. Cagney died gloriously in black and white. But when the cameras stopped rolling, some of classic Hollywood's biggest names met the real thing. Men who owned the nightclubs where deals were made, the casinos where fortunes vanished, and the unions that could shut down a studio with a phone call. This wasn't fiction. The mob in Hollywood wasn't a movie plot. It was Tuesday afternoon. It was a handshake in a dimly lit booth at the Copacabana. It was a favor granted in Las Vegas that couldn't be refused 6 months later in Chicago. From the Rat Pack's glittering Vegas showrooms to Beverly Hills mansions where celebrity crime stories exploded into headlines, old Hollywood Mafia connections ran deeper than anyone wanted to admit. The Chicago outfit had eyes in California. New York families had interests in Nevada. And somewhere between the studio gates and the Strip, fame stopped being protection and became a liability. Studio heads looked the other way. Columnists knew which names not to print. And the stars themselves, some of classic Hollywood's most beloved legends, learned that charisma and box office numbers meant nothing to men who measured debts in blood and silence. Some tangled with organized crime in Hollywood through romance. Others through gambling. A few thought friendship with powerful men would shield them from threats. They were wrong. When mob connections collided with celebrity scandals, careers chilled, doors closed. And the only thing more dangerous than owing a favor was trying to walk away from one. These are the 15 old Hollywood celebrities who crossed paths with the Mafia in smoky nightclubs, mob-run showrooms, and Vegas casinos built on syndicate money and lived to regret it. The house always wins, even in Hollywood. Frank Sinatra, the voice and the shadows. The night Frank Sinatra played the Villa Venice, the Chicago suburban nightclub glittered like a mirage in the snow. It was 1962. Sinatra was untouchable, an Academy Award winner, a chart topper, the nucleus of the Rat Pack. But Villa Venice wasn't just another gig. FBI files would later track what Sinatra always denied, his decades-long associations with Sam Giancana, one of Chicago's most powerful mob bosses. The photographs told stories the press couldn't print. Dinners, nightclubs, favors exchanged in the currency of silence. At Villa Venice, Sinatra brought Dean Martin and Sammy Davis Jr. for a high-profile run that packed the house. The club belonged to Giancana's orbit. The money flowed upstream. And while Sinatra's voice filled the room, other names whispered in the background, names connected to the Chicago outfit, to Las Vegas casinos, to the machinery of organized crime in Hollywood. The fallout followed him for years. Political doors closed. The Kennedy White House kept its distance. Press narratives shifted from chairman of the board to questions Sinatra couldn't charm away. History.com's summary of his FBI file runs to hundreds of pages. The Rat Pack glamour masked uncomfortable truths about who really controlled the stages they performed on. Sinatra never stopped performing, but the shadows never left the spotlight. He sang My Way. The mob remembered who paved it. Lana Turner, When Romance Met the Underworld. April 4th, 1958. A Beverly Hills mansion. A scream that shattered Hollywood's carefully polished image. Lana Turner was a goddess, platinum hair, tragic roles, a face that sold millions of tickets. But her boyfriend, Johnny Stompanato, was tied to Mickey Cohen's crew. The mob in Hollywood didn't just run casinos. It bled into bedrooms, into tabloid headlines, into a scandal that Vanity Fair would still be dissecting decades later. What happened that night became one of classic Hollywood's most infamous celebrity crime stories. Stompanato's connection to LA's underworld wasn't secret. Cohen's name surfaced immediately. The press devoured every detail. And Turner, a star who'd survived wartime pinup fame and studio system pressures, found herself at the center of a media storm that linked old Hollywood Mafia operations to her most intimate moments. The trial was a circus. Flash bulbs. Testimony. A narrative that mixed celebrity scandals with organized crime in ways studios couldn't spin away. Turner's career never fully recovered its luster. The glamour remained, but the shadow was permanent. EBS-CO research archives and Wikipedia case summaries preserve the details. But no file captures the cost, how one relationship pulled back the curtain on connections Hollywood preferred to ignore. She was a star. He was a mistake. The mob never forgets either. Mickey Cohen, the gangster who played Hollywood. Mickey Cohen didn't hide. He courted cameras like a politician and mingled with starlets like a studio head. LA's most media-savvy mob boss understood something other gangsters didn't. In Hollywood, publicity was power. Time and Life ran photo essays. Columnists quoted him. And behind the showmanship, Cohen ran gambling, protection, and the machinery that connected organized crime in Hollywood to legitimate business. His parties mixed movie stars with muscle. His phone book was a who's who of classic Hollywood legends and underworld operators. When Johnny Stompanato needed Cohen's help navigating the celebrity world, it was Cohen who brokered the meetings. When stars gambled too deep or needed problems solved quietly, Cohen's name came up. SF-Gate profiles capture his celebrity aura. The tailored suits, the press conferences, the way he turned criminal proceedings into performance art. But underneath the flash, Cohen represented something darker, the ease with which mob connections infiltrated the dream factory. The fall, when it came, pulled others down. Names got mentioned. Friendships became liabilities. Stars who'd posed for photos with Cohen suddenly had no comment for reporters. He wanted Hollywood's spotlight. He got it. Then he showed everyone what it really illuminated. Sammy Davis Jr., protection and its price. Sammy Davis Jr. could tap dance through landmines. But in 1957, love became more dangerous than any stage. His relationship with Kim Novak enraged Columbia Pictures chief Harry Cohn. In 1950s Hollywood, interracial romance was a powder keg. But Cohn's response, according to biographers and Vanity Fair's deep dive, went beyond studio pressure. Mob intermediaries delivered messages. The word protection took on a sinister double meaning. Sam Giancana's name surfaced in Chicago. And suddenly, Davis was arranging a quick marriage to a chorus girl he barely knew. The Rat Pack's most electric performer learned that talent didn't shield you from certain pressures. His Vegas performances dazzled at the Sands and other mob-run showrooms, but every favor granted meant a future favor owed. When he sang at Giancana's Villa Venice in 1962, it wasn't just a booking, it was a reminder of who held invisible strings. Davis spent his life navigating impossible spaces, black in a white industry, Jewish in a Christian world, brilliant in a business that measured worth by obedience. The mob was just another wall to dance around. Except this wall didn't move. Years later, he'd joke about those days. But the laughter was performance. The fear was real. He entertained everyone, including people who never asked twice. Bugsy Siegel and Virginia Hill, Hollywood's original power couple of crime. The flamingo rose from desert sand like a fever dream, and behind it stood Benjamin Bugsy Siegel, dapper, charming, and connected to the national syndicate. Siegel wasn't just a gangster. He was Las Vegas's face of the future, the man who saw what the Strip could become when mob money met Hollywood glamour. History.com briefers and Mob Museum bios detail his role, key figure in organized crime's westward expansion, friend to movie stars, resident of Beverly Hills. Virginia Hill was his match. An outfit courier who moved through Hollywood circles with the ease of any starlet. She rented mansions, threw parties, and understood power in ways that terrified men who underestimated her. Together, they represented the collision of celebrity crime stories and legitimate Los Angeles society. The flamingo opened to disaster. Cost overruns, suspicions of skimming, whispers that traveled from Nevada back to New York. By June 1947, Siegel was gone. His death splashed across newspapers, Hill's name forever linked to old Hollywood Mafia lore. Hill survived but never recovered. She fled to Europe. The glamour became exile. And the lesson was clear. In mob-era Las Vegas, vision was cheaper than trust. He built a dream in the desert. Someone else collected. George Raft, when the role became reality. George Raft didn't have to study gangsters. He grew up with them. The actor who defined the coin-flipping hood in Scarface built a career playing mob-connected characters. But Britannica bios and Telegraph explainers reveal the uncomfortable truth. Raft's method acting included real friendships with underworld figures. He testified in a bookmaking case. He socialized openly with organized crime figures. And in 1967, the United Kingdom denied him entry over his associations. That rejection stung deeper than any bad review. Casino opportunities dried up. Film deals cooled. Hollywood forgave many sins, but proximity to the mob in Hollywood's real operations, not the scripted kind, made studios nervous. Raft's loyalty to old friends cost him late career opportunities. He'd brought authenticity to gangster roles by living adjacent to the world he portrayed. But audiences wanted the fantasy. Studios wanted distance. And Rath learned that typecast worked both ways. He played gangsters so well that people stopped believing he was just acting. Wikipedia's source controversies section reads like a case study in reputation risk. The coin kept flipping, but the odds changed. He brought the streets to the screen. The streets followed him home. Dean Martin and Jerry Lewis, showrooms with strings. The Copacabana, New York's glittering nightclub where Dean Martin and Jerry Lewis became superstars. They were dynamite, Martin's smooth croon, Lewis's manic genius. But the Copa wasn't just any venue. Robust literature links the club to Frank Costello's orbit, part of organized crime in New York's entertainment infrastructure. UNLV archives note how the Rat Pack's later Vegas ascent ran through mob-linked venues where glamour overlaid control. Martin and Lewis's early rise meant playing rooms where the guest list had two sections, paying customers and people who never paid for anything. They killed on stage. But off stage, they learned which hands to shake and which questions not to ask. When they moved to Las Vegas, to the Sands Copa Room, to showrooms financed by syndicate money, the pattern repeated. In Tratter, the Sands impresario knew everyone. The mob-run showrooms of classic Hollywood's Satellite City glittered with talent. But the contracts had fine print written in invisible ink. Martin eventually understood the game better than most. Charm everyone. Owe nothing. Drink on stage. Stay sober backstage. Lewis's manic energy was performance. Martin's cool was survival. They made America laugh. Other names made sure they kept the schedule. Marilyn Monroe, whispers, power, and watchful eyes. Marilyn Monroe moved through worlds that collided like tectonic plates. Politicians, studio heads, the Rat Pack orbit, and according to persistent reporting detailed in Vanity Fair's investigative features, connections that brought her into proximity with figures who operated in shadows. Biographers describe competing interests watching her, leveraging her fame, measuring her worth in access and silence. No court-proven mob crimes. But the speculation never stopped. The final hours of her life spawned theories that mixed old Hollywood Mafia rumors with political conspiracy and tragic inevitability. The documentation remains disputed, wrapped in layers of legend and legitimate investigation. What's clear is this: Monroe existed at the center of too many power structures. Her beauty was currency. Her fame was leverage. And in 1950s and early 60s Hollywood, where celebrity scandals intersected with organized crime's legitimate fronts, being close to powerful men, any powerful man, meant being watched by all of them. The studio system consumed her. The press mythologized her. And whether the mob's eyes were on her or not, enough other dangerous gazes were. She wanted to be taken seriously. Too many people took her seriously in the wrong ways. The icon endures. The questions never close. Handsome Johnny Rosselli, the Hollywood fixer. He wasn't a star. He was the name stars whispered to when problems needed solving. Johnny Rosselli moved through Hollywood like smoke, Chicago outfit liaison, labor racketeer in the 1940s, Vegas power broker, and eventually a 1960s CIA contact in plots that sound like bad thrillers. Wikipedia summaries and Mob Museum overviews trace his arc, the fixer who squeezed studios, controlled unions, and counted celebrities as friends. The mob in Hollywood needed representatives who could wear tuxedos and talk box office. Rosselli was that bridge. He dined at the Brown Derby. He golfed at country clubs. And behind closed doors, he reminded producers that strikes could be avoided, that certain problems could disappear, that organized crime in Hollywood wasn't just about casinos. It was about controlling the machinery that made dreams. His celebrity friendships made him a behind-the-scenes star. But by the 1970s, as Senate hearings dragged mob connections into daylight, those famous friends developed amnesia. Calls went unreturned. Invitations stopped arriving. In 1976, Rosselli disappeared. His body was found in an oil drum off Miami. The Hollywood ending he facilitated for others never came. He fixed everyone's problems. No one fixed his. Joe DiMaggio, Mr. Coffee, meet Mr. Costello. The Yankee Clipper was American royalty, grace on the diamond, dignity in pinstripes. But biographer Richard Ben Kramer's widely cited research, reviewed in the New Yorker and ESPN coverage, revealed friendships with figures like Frank Costello, mob financiers who provided private benefits while DiMaggio maintained his public image. The connections colored his Monroe-era spotlight, adding subtext to a marriage already drowning in cameras. DiMaggio was image-conscious to the point of obsession. He understood value and leverage. And according to Kramer's account, he benefited from relationships that operated in the gray areas where legitimate business met organized crime's financial networks. The public saw the hero. Biographers saw the calculation. And in that gap lived the truth about how classic Hollywood legends and sports icons navigated a world where power wore many faces. DiMaggio's later years emphasized the coffee commercials and old-timers' day appearances. But grunge summaries and other retrospectives preserve the uncomfortable details, how fame sometimes required friendly ties to dangerous men, and how carefully those ties had to be managed. He hit .325 for his career. Some averages don't make the stat sheet. Peter Lawford, the go-between who got burned. Peter Lawford was the Rat Pack's diplomat, British accent, Kennedy brother-in-law, bridge between Hollywood glamour and Camelot's power. Until 1962, when that bridge collapsed. Desert Sun history features and Las Vegas weekly coverage detailed the rupture. JFK was scheduled to stay at Sinatra's Palm Springs compound, but mob connections had become political poison. The president went to Bing Crosby's estate instead. Lawford, as the messenger, caught Sinatra's rage. The friendship ended. Decades of Rat Pack camaraderie turned to silence. Lawford had been useful. The man who could make a call to Washington, who brought legitimacy to Vegas showrooms, who made the circle feel less like organized crime and more like society. But when celebrity scandals met political reality, the go-between became expendable. Sinatra never forgave him. The Rat Pack continued without him. And Lawford spent his remaining years watching from the outside as the world he'd helped create moved on. He was the perfect intermediary. The moment passed. Intermediaries always get caught in the middle. Ava Gardner, too close to the blast radius. Ava Gardner feared nothing. Not directors, not studio heads, not angry husbands. But even she couldn't outrun proximity to the wrong names. Her marriage to Sinatra placed her in the constellation of old Hollywood Mafia stories. Her beauty attracted attention from everyone, including Mickey Cohen, who SF Gatepieces note mediated messy Hollywood entanglements. Biographer Tier Tariba documented how Cohen's world intersected with Gardner's social circle. The Stompanato scandal, her friend Lana Turner's nightmare, brushed close. Cohen's name kept surfacing. And Gardner, who hated being diminished or controlled, found this shadow over her image intolerable. She decamped abroad. Spain, Italy, anywhere the American press couldn't reduce her to a gangster's girlfriend or a mobster's passing interest. Her later years emphasized distance from Hollywood's machinery, from toxic relationships, from the blast radius of other people's dangerous friendships. Gardner wanted to live on her own terms. She succeeded, but the cost was exile. She was fearless, but even the fearless learn when to leave. Cary Grant, the escape artist. Cary Grant played sophistication like a Stradivarius, perfect diction, effortless charm, the ultimate Hollywood transformation. But rumors persisted about his early career, whispers of business deals with questionable investors, of financing that came with strings attached. The details remain murky, buried under decades of carefully maintained public image. What's notable is how Grant escaped. Unlike others on this list, he managed distance. He chose roles carefully. He cultivated friendships in legitimate circles. And by the time his career peaked, whatever early compromises he'd made were airbrushed from a narrative. Grant understood something others didn't. In Hollywood, reinvention wasn't just an acting technique. It was survival strategy. If he'd brushed against organized crime's financial networks on his way up, he made sure those connections didn't follow him to the top. The skill that made him a star, the ability to become anyone, served him in life as well as on screen. He played the gentleman so convincingly that even investigators believed it. Some stars tangled with the mob and regretted it. Grant just rewrote the script. Tony Curtis, when the cards turned. Tony Curtis had the looks, the swagger, the New York edge that translated to California cool. But his Las Vegas gambling ties nearly ended everything in the 1950s. The Strip wasn't just entertainment. It was mob-run showrooms, syndicate casinos, and a place where debts were measured differently than at a bank. Curtis loved the tables, the action, the high-stakes glamour of classic Hollywood stars playing in mob-controlled venues, until the debts stacked up, until the wrong people started making friendly inquiries about when payment might arrive, until studio executives heard whispers that their investment might have a problem they couldn't insure against. Curtis pulled back before the consequences became permanent. He refocused on his career. The gambling slowed. The Vegas trips became professional only. And he survived, unlike some who kept doubling down. Later interviews showed a man who'd learned the lesson. The strip glittered, but the house always had an edge sharper than advertised. He played confident charmers on screen. Off-screen, he learned to count the cost. Judy Garland, the circuit of no return. By the time Judy Garland hit the nightclub circuit, the yellow brick road was behind her. Pills, divorce, studio betrayals, a voice that still stunned audiences, and a vulnerability that attracted predators. The late career clubs brought her too close to mob-owned venues. Managers who made offers she couldn't refuse. Debts that turned friendly arrangements into control. In Las Vegas and New York, where organized crime and Hollywood's entertainment extensions ran the best rooms, Garland became trapped in a circuit where the applause was real, but the freedom wasn't. The girl who'd sung about rainbows ended up singing for men who measured her value in ticket sales and leverage. Every performance earned money that flowed through hands she didn't control. Every contract came with terms written by people who didn't care about her health or happiness. Garland's tragedy played out in public. The mob connections were just another verse in a song of exploitation that started at MGM and ended in London. The classic Hollywood system consumed her. Other interests just picked the bones. She had the voice of an angel. They gave her a cage and called a stage. Old Hollywood wasn't built on talent alone. It survived on power, secrecy, and deals made in smoky rooms where the cameras never pointed. The stars we've examined, from Frank Sinatra's Rat Pack glamour to Judy Garland's late career desperation, learned that fame was a currency, but not the only one that mattered. In mob-era Las Vegas, in Chicago's suburban nightclubs, in Copacabana's velvet booths, and the Sands' glittering showrooms, organized crime in Hollywood operated with the efficiency of any studio. Some celebrities thought they could outcharm the mob. They were wrong. Charisma doesn't erase debts. Box office numbers don't impress men who measure worth in loyalty and silence. And when celebrity scandals collided with the machinery of organized crime, careers chilled faster than a Nevada morning. The tragedy is how mundane it was. Not dramatic shootouts or cinematic confrontations, but quiet pressure. Doors closing, opportunities vanishing. A phone call suggesting a different choice would be wise. The mob in Hollywood didn't need violence when influence worked better. These classic Hollywood legends, Oscar winners, crooners, beauties who defined an era, discovered that fame was the bright light everyone saw. The mob was the shadow that never left their side. Some escaped. Some managed the relationship with uneasy skill. Others spent decades regretting a handshake, a favor, a night when they thought they were powerful enough to play in rooms where the real power brokers sat. The studios knew. The press knew. And the stars themselves learned, one uncomfortable lesson at a time, that old Hollywood's golden age was built on foundations less solid than they appeared. For every premiere and standing ovation, there were backroom negotiations with people whose names never appeared in Variety. The celluloid dreams endure. The reels keep spinning. But between the frames, if you look carefully, you'll see the shadows that made the light possible. In Hollywood, everyone got their close-up. Not everyone controlled when the camera stopped rolling.